And welcome back to my channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and I'm going to continue my little slasher fest. These are a few little out-of-the-way slashers. I prefer spotlighting lesser-known stuff because, you can find somebody talking about Scream and Halloween anywhere. So, I kind of like to bring spotlight to these kinds of movies. And we are going to talk about Piggy. Yes. So, Piggy was released in 2022. It is directed and written by Carlota Pereda, and it stars Laura Galán, Richard Holmes, and Carmen Machi. Now, I had seen the trailer for this. I was aware of this movie. I had even seen the trailer for it, and it was on my wish list. I hadn't gotten around to buying it yet until the lovely Miss Carter. She saw it somewhere, so she actually saw the movie and asked me if I'd heard of it. I told her yes. And she said that, yes, it was really good. And so I went ahead and moved it up the list and bought it. She said that I would like it, and I most certainly did. Now, Piggy is about this girl here. Her name is Sarah, and she works for her family in the family business, which is a butcher, So she lives with her mom, and her dad, and her little brother. And she is overweight, and and not just a little overweight. I mean, she's not like my 600-pound life, but she's not just a little chubby. She's built in a way that, the bullying is relentless. The bullying is pretty bad. And they call her Piggy and oink at her and stuff like that when they come into the haberdashery. They come in there to pick up orders from their families, and of course they make fun of her, and she's always listening to her music and trying to ignore it. And the little and the meeting place, it's like their butcher shop is like right in the town square, so like all of the kids like meet right out there, so she can sit in her isolation and actually see them all having fun kid life, you know what I'm saying? Late teens. I think they're all in their late teens, probably 17 to 19, all of them. And she is especially bullied by a girl named Mara and another one named Rochi. And there's also Pedro and Juan, Elena, and Claudia. That's the little friend group, like in Carrie or something, that she wishes she belonged to. So, the bullying is pretty relentless. Her parents don't seem to notice, which I thought was an interesting thing in this movie, is that her parents are always kind of like, why do you look so sad, and what's your problem? And because in their eyes, I guess, she's just their daughter, and she doesn't really know. And a little tiny bit of it is Sarah's fault, because Sarah doesn't say anything about it. She just, so her parents don't know. Her parents should know. But then again, she never says anything. So it's kind of like a little dichotomy of kind of like, this situation probably could be resolved if somebody would notice and somebody would just speak up. So you have that little dynamic going on about bullying. She, of course, does something that a lot of bullied teens do, or people in general, not just teens, but adults as well. And that is she isolates herself. For instance, there is a neighborhood pool, the public pool, and she always waits till everyone else is gone, and she goes down there by herself because, it's not like she's like it's not like her walking out in a bikini, for gosh sakes, which did surprise me as well, considering her body. She actually wears bikinis, and I'm like, girl, you know, I'm all about pride and stuff like that, but whew, boy, when you decide to let it all hang out, you just let it all hang out. But she goes without, and nobody is there. But of course, they show up and they pick on her and stuff like that. She tries to get away from them. And this is an interesting scene in the movie because, in trying to get away from them, she dives into there. And I swore I thought I saw a body underneath the water, when she was the underwater scene. But since she didn't see nothing and it's like I just let it go because the film let it go. And I'm like, was that a body behind her or just a pillar or something floating? I don't know. So they take her backpack with all of her stuff in it, her phone, her clothes, her towel. So she's basically left in nothing but a very inappropriate string bikini. It's just like, I felt her pain, because she was horrified. And what else you noticed was there was like this weird guy hanging around. He didn't say nothing to her. He didn't do anything like that. But she did notice him. But anyway, she got out and she went on. And she's horrified. She's having to walk down the road all the way back to her home. And nothing but a bikini. A couple guys stop and harass her on the road as well, but nothing comes of that. They take off, just the normal bullying. She gets so frustrated that she turns down sort of like a side road to just like, I guess she just wanted to like get off the road for a minute and out of public view so that she would not, to just take a breather and just like get her composure back. And when she did, she walked up on this van, and it was like this white van. It's always a white van. But she walks up on this white van and she actually walks by it and she thinks she hears something, but not really. But she looks right in the face of this dude that's in there. And she gets, I don't know, probably about 30, 40 feet behind it, and she turns around and she sees like one of those girls come crawling out of the woods, like bloody, and he just like gets out. And it was a very weird situation because she just turns around and stands there because I guess what else are you going to do, right? I would have ran, but she had been running so much she probably didn't have the breath to do it. But she then sees Claudia, and Claudia isn't as bad as the others, but she's like banging on the back of the window, and the guy like looks right at her. And so she's got this moment where, is he coming after me? What's going on? And in that moment, she does nothing, and he throws a towel out the window. Now later on, we found out that that's Claudia's towel, but he throws a towel out the window as a gesture of kindness to her in her string bikini, and pulls off, and she does nothing about it. It kind of does make you think, would you help these people that had relentlessly terrorized you and bullied you? It's kind of interesting. He pulls off and takes off, and she grabs the towel and puts it on. She's very traumatized and doesn't understand. She goes on home after that, and that's when things are a little flaky, because when she does get home, she doesn't tell them anything. It's not like she busts in the door and is like, I saw these people and this guy, and they were bloody, and put them in a van. No, she doesn't say anything. She just goes and takes a bath. Her mom comes in, like, what the hell's your problem? Nothing, blah, blah, blah. Things go on from there. So the story progresses here more when I guess she's really confused about what to do. She's looking it up on the computer. She also realizes that, she doesn't even tell. Remember what I told you about her not telling her parents about the bullying? She didn't tell them her backpack was stolen. And so her clothes, her backpack, her phone, all of that, her mobile, it's all been taken, right? So she's like trying to figure out a way to find her phone. She goes and like creeps in the living room and steals her dad's phone because her little brother told her about a app, Find My Phone app. So she does that, and she actually sneaks out of the house to go try to find her phone. And it leads her to way out into the woods, where she like actually comes across what looks like a very scary scene. I don't know what the hell that guy was doing, right? But she comes across this really scary scene with like a spotlight, and she does manage to find her phone, but it's right next to all of the other people's phones as well. Now, their parents are also tracking their phones, trying to locate their now missing kids, right? These 3 girls. So he like steps out of the woods, and we have like this really interesting thing where she's face to face with this person. She still has no idea what he's done, what he's doing. And he seems fascinated with her, and he shows her kindness, and it's like he likes her, stroking the face and all of that. And he even like hides her. They like, because it's like these little ruins, these like abandoned houses. And he like hides her behind a wall because, of course, these parents locate the phones as well, and they're calling for them. And him and her both avoid this. So she's terrified, but at the same time, she's, I don't know what words you would use, maybe intrigued by this guy showing her attention and affection. So it's really a strange situation, and they do manage to avoid the parents. The parents get the phones, they search the woods, they leave. She takes off, he takes off, going his way, she goes her way, and she ends up getting back home with her phone, and everything's cool. The next day, of course, the story's spreading. They find the lifeguard of the pool dead under the water. He had been murdered, and I was like, I knew I fucking saw a body in that water. I was like, question answered from a while ago. So her mom like questions her. It's like, I thought you were at the pool. No, I wasn't at the pool. I went to the river. So it's just like she's covering for this guy, doesn't want to be involved, and that guy even like is following her around town. And of course, her mom doesn't want her to eat because, by this time the mother has found out that her daughter has been relentlessly bullied. And she's like, well, some of that's your fault because you just keep stuffing ding dongs down your mouth and Twinkies and stuff like that. So, she harasses her a little bit about that. And then that guy is like creeping around. He even like, instead of like hitting her, like she goes into her bedroom and she finds like snow globes, chocolate cakes, cupcakes with, cream filled cupcakes, the ones that she was looking at the store. Cause she tried to buy some. Girl tried to sneak some. Girl tried to buy some at the store when her mom sent her to the store. But the mom had even warned the lady at the store, it's like, don't be selling her no shit. So the lady behind the cash register was like, okay, yeah, you can buy this. Oh, no, we're not buying the cupcakes, sweetie. Mommy will not be happy. So her mom had actually like went behind her back and told the store not to sell her cupcakes and stuff. But that guy was following her around the store, and he bought those cupcakes. And when she got into her bedroom that night, those cupcakes were laying by her open window. So now she really knows this guy is following her around. And the whole time she's dealing with this overwhelming indecision, confusion, and guilt about these girls are missing. Now, Pedro, He's a nice guy. You find out pretty quickly that he's not a bully like that. He tries to talk to her. He's afraid that he's going to get blamed for it. They even like smoke a doobie together. She finds out he's pretty nice, and that's a pretty good little scene there. Then it all starts, of course I'm leaving a lot of this out. I'm trying to make these shorter. But the thing really culminates in the third act when she is that dude shows up at her house and tries to murder her dad, beats him nearly to death, beats her mother nearly to death, and even pulls out a machete because the son, her little brother, he gets up to go to the bathroom, and that guy starts going up the stairs with this machete like thing, and she had to stop him. And I think what she did was sort of let him know, take me instead, but don't hurt them anymore. So, because there had definitely been some tension in the house in the second act about her behavior and all this stuff going on, especially since her mama, when she was washing her clothes, found that towel that guy had threw out the van, and it was actually Claudia's, and it had her name on it. So her mother was already suspicious about what was going on. So you had that kind of little drama as well. Now, he actually takes her, and he takes her to this weird... The movie quickly becomes like the atmosphere of Saw or something. It's like this old or hostile, it's an old abandoned factory of some kind, and he takes her there because she gets they have a little accident. She gets knocked out. She wakes up at this place, and he's all about her, right? I think he's he reminds me of Leatherface, but not disfigured and wearing a mask, but he acts like Leatherface. And so when she wakes up, she's in there with him. She starts trying to find a way out, and then she actually finds, first of all, she finds the worst one, Mach. She finds her body, and it's cut up and dead. And then she finds the other two. She finds Roshi and Claudia strung up, again, like Leatherface, you know what I mean? They're strung up. And he's obviously going to kill them too. He even, and she's horrified. She tries to get them down, but she can't. She can't get them down. She tries. And he comes in and catches them, and there's this big tussle between them where she ends up stabbing him to death. And so she kind of liked him. Right, this is the only boy that's ever showed her attention. So she kind of likes him, and yet she's not that crazy. So she did fight back, and she ends up at first, that scene is pretty cool because at first you thought she shot the girls. Because for a second there, because he wanted her, do this with me, right? You actually thought they tricked you with the cinematography, right? In other words, they showed the gunshots, but they didn't show you what happened. And you assumed she actually decided to go to the dark side. And, but actually what she had done was, she blew Claudia's hand off trying to get, she was aiming for the ropes, right? And it blew Claudia's hand off. She managed to get the other girl down that way too. And she, of course, the big, huge fight with him was pretty heavily intense. And she ends up killing him, and they're like, thank you, but also, what the fuck? So, the whole thing was a dichotomy, because on one side, the girls are like, you didn't seem to want to help us. Remember the van? Remember me begging for help? How is it that nobody knew we were... You see what I'm saying? So it's they wanted to thank her, but at the same time they were also, what the fuck you're crazy. I mean, you didn't tell them, and now it looked like you were going to, I think that they could see that she was teetering. Join him, be a psycho. No, I shouldn't. Let me help them. I think they actually saw that she was teetering between those two decisions and probably wondering which one is she going to make, right? So once she did, like, he's dead, and she was really upset about that, right? But she doesn't even say anything to them. She just, like, remains like she was, which was, fuck you, after all y'all have done to me. Be glad that I at least killed him and saved your ass. But she didn't say a word. She just, like, walked out, and she walked out to the road, and Pedro pulled up on a motorbike. So when Pedro pulled up on a motorbike, he was like, are you okay? What the fuck? And she's like, we need help. And she got on the back and went with him to town. Because I think, aside from this psycho, Pedro, because of, those scenes where she actually found out he was a nice guy and wasn't like that he wasn't like those bitchy girls, I think he was the only one that she actually trusted to speak to, because even, like I told you, even after she shot those other two girls down and freed them, she didn't say a word to them. She acted the way she had always acted towards them through the whole movie. But Pedro is the one that she changed about, because she actually talked to him, smoked a doobie with him. He was cool. She was, and she could tell he wasn't. So I think he was the only other guy that she actually, or only other person really, that she actually trusted, because it turns out he was pretty abused in a different way at home. He was, like, physically abused by his father, and she is relentlessly bullied. So they had actually found a little connection. So she jumps on his motorbike and they head back, to town, and that's where the movie ends. Or that's how the movie ends. So that she went and she got help, and those other two girls were rescued. I wouldn't know, one of them was dead, and then of course the guy was dead, and they showed another murder scene where he had killed some waitress, went into her house and killed her, a middle-aged woman, a waitress from somewhere. They showed that murder scene as well. So yeah, that's Piggy from 2022. Very interesting character study of this girl, Sarah. Very mesmerizing story. I don't know. This is a Spanish language movie. I don't know if there's dubbing on it. I guess I forgot to check. I probably forgot to check, because the subtitles were done really well, in that they were placed well, and they didn't really bother me for some reason, because subtitles usually bother me. They're, like, in the way of my visual enjoyment of the movie. But I didn't even notice the subtitles enough. I think because of the way the movie was filmed, or the placement of the subtitles, it didn't get in my way, and yet I was able to see it without concentrating on it. So it's very interesting the way they did the subtitles in this movie, and that they didn't bother me, which they usually do. So I don't know if it's dubbed or not. I don't know if this has a dubbing on it. But in any event, it was very good. What did I give it? I gave it an 8 out of 10. I had a great deal of fun. I was very mesmerized by this movie, and it really gave me a lot of deep thoughts. Like, what's up with this chick? And you felt for her, and I think it was a really good psychological delving into her mind. As far as the murders go, or the horror aspect of it, that guy was super creepy. He really did remind me of Leatherface, minus any disfigurement. I wouldn't say he was attractive, but he wasn't ugly. He was just big and brooding, but he acted a little off. And, well, obviously he was a little off, wasn't he? But in any event, yeah. So that was Piggy. I definitely recommend it to horror movie viewers. And for your horror collection, I'm very glad to have it. It is a really good movie. And I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you, bye-bye. Always remember and never forget, you are a very, very special person. No matter what anybody tells you. Don't bully people. It's, there's a fine line between telling the truth and bullying, okay? You can tell somebody the truth without doing it in a bullingly, okay. Either I just made up a word or that word sounds really funny. But yeah, because her mama, told the truth. She's fat. And I think it's a very big mistake to look like that and go to a public pool in a string bikini. But these are the questions that you can ask yourself in this movie. As well as wondering who the fuck this psycho is. But I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. And I will see you in the next Slasher Fest entry. Bye-bye.